I just feel like starting with the funny concept today. I don't know, I'm just in one of those moods. Have you heard this saying, silence is golden unless you have kids, and then it's suspicious? It's so true. Anyway, I was thinking about cancer busyness, how busy I actually was during 2.5 years of cancer treatment between trying to work and parenting and being a family member, contributing to all the family holidays, and then managing 3 surgeries, 44 radiation treatments, 2.5 years of chemo, including 3 times a day, plus all of the dietary things and all of the meditative things and the gratitude. I mean, it's basically this podcast is the 365 days of beating cancer daily. It just can keep you really busy. But there's something about stillness that I think is really important in the healing process. And I know we've talked about meditation, gratitude, visualization, but it's even deeper than that. Just stillness. Now, someone said to me, Saranne, you're always so overscheduled. Are you actually really feeling your life? And I think I'm pretty good at being present, but I heard the observation and it made me really think about how do I incorporate stillness into my life? What part of that is in my strategy and not only beating cancer, but staying really well. So I thought it was an interesting conversation for us to have today. Do you have stillness baked into your everyday or baked into your week? And is that observation possibly true? Are we so busy because there's something that we're avoiding feeling? And what could that be? Are we avoiding fear of our cancer? Are we avoiding stress? And we think that if we're so busy, we won't feel our stress? Are we possibly avoiding loss? What are these reasons for being so darn busy? And is it at the expense of stillness? And what can stillness play in our recovery or in our wellness and our healing? So let's just talk about this for a minute. Personally, what I've noticed is that my healing happens in 2 distinct ways. One, when I'm laughing and I'm feeling overly joyful. That's why I started the Comedy Cures Foundation. And it happens in the stillness. It happens in the silence. It happens in the connectiveness when I'm truly in tune with my mind, body, soul, spirit, emotions. That's when I feel invincible. That's when I feel that my immune system is actually doing its job. And that's keeping me healthy, fighting off disease, repairing cells. So I want to go into some of the reasons why people think that stillness is so beneficial. And why do we care about it? Why do we want to try to achieve stillness? Okay, even if you can't meditate or you hate meditating, there's still so many ways to be still, and we're going to get to that. So this is a pretty long list that I thought of. And so if you want to get out a pen or paper or just put it in your phone just to inspire you to want to seek out more stillness. But this is in no order at all. It can promote better decision making. It can increase your listening skills, provide health benefits, which we talked about. It can really help you become emotionally more stable. We all have the emotional roller coaster, right? At some point in our cancer journey. So stillness can help equalize, help us become a little more stable. It can help us cope better, improve our focus. Well, we all have had chemo brain, right? So the stillness is a good way to combat chemo brain. It lets us really gain confidence, trust our intuition, listen to ourselves. It can make us more compassionate. It can create a lot of good self awareness. Like, where are we in all of this? Where are we in our relationships? It can improve relationships, improve our creativity. Are you trying to solve a problem or just invent something? It can enhance our awareness. The clarity part, I think, is really good because a lot of times we have to make medical decisions that are important. We have to pick one treatment over another. And stillness really helps with clarity. And supposedly it helps reduce stress. Now, I have really benefited from a practice of stillness, and I have observed that these are some of the ways that it really does serve me. There are two other things that I wanted to mention also. One is improved sleep. Supposedly, practicing stillness can improve the quality of your sleep. And the other thing that I think is really important about stillness is if you do have a relationship with a higher power, or you're looking to develop a relationship with whatever higher power you want to develop that with, stillness can be a really important way to do that. I personally speak to God all the time, and I just have these ongoing conversations. But I do find when I'm just still, I do feel the presence of my higher power protecting me, guiding me. And I'm going to leave it at that. But I think that it is a really interesting way to feel comfort if you are feeling scared or overwhelmed. And I want to do a longer episode just on that relationship for people who do want to think more about developing a relationship with their higher power. But for this episode, stillness is really a cool way to kind of connect outward beyond myself. And a lot of times we think of stillness as just being me, myself, and I. But if you are interested in that other connection, it's a really good way to get started. So, just like meditation, a lot of people say, I don't know how you practice stillness, Saranne. Like, it makes me feel very anxious. And I have the reverse feeling about it because I speak to so many people every day, plus this podcast with hundreds of daily episodes. It's a lot of talking. And so I love the quiet, no stimulation, no telephone, no computer, no television, no music, just real complete silence. I like to hear my breath. I don't feel anxious when I hear my breath. So I happen to just love it. But a lot of people tell me that it just is too quiet. It makes them want to, escape. So let's talk about some of the reasons why stillness is so hard. Is it something that you're avoiding? Something that you're very stressed about, fearful about, something you just can't confront? Is it a bad memory? Is it a nightmare? Is it just a lifelong fear? A lot of times people have problems being alone in their own mind, body, and spirit when there's something that has either been in existence for a long time, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It just is unnerving. And I get that. And maybe a therapy session or some hypnotherapy can really help adjust that, work through that. I'm talking about if you just have never practiced stillness and it isn't this huge hurdle for you to do yourself. Stillness is something that sometimes you have to work up to. And especially if you have a lot of trauma, it is good to try it with a professional. So I just want to say there's nothing wrong with you. It's just sometimes you have to walk before you run, right? And I wouldn't say decide to put yourself in a deprivation tank for an hour. Maybe just a minute of stillness here or there, just starting to incorporate it into your everyday. Now, I love when I come back from a convention, like I just came back from a convention, and I had people around me morning, noon, and night. And it was a lot of parties and a lot of socializing and a lot of discussing the podcast actually and what our goals are and what we want to do in the future and how can people help get Beating Cancer Daily to more people. So it was all positive, but so much stimulation. And you know what I couldn't wait to do? Get home, even turn off the lights, even visual stimulation. Nothing. I like to just sit in silence, in the dark, or maybe with a candle, with no music, no stimulation, and just kind of hang out for a day and decompress. So for me, that really is helpful. But for starting a practice of stillness, it can just be a breath. It can be just taking a deep breath. Or maybe you want to do box breathing where you're doing 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. Maybe you just want to wait for 4 and then start it again. And it's like a box, right? Maybe you just want to try some box breathing and just have that be your exercise of stillness. Some people do like to put on some quiet music and just hang out with no conversation. Others love to meditate, and that's how they get their stillness. So there is this spontaneous stillness that you just integrate throughout the day. But I also love scheduled stillness. Why not work it in to your everyday? I have it a couple different ways. I already said I do it when I'm praying. I do it when I'm meditating. I do it with visualization. You can also decide that you want to do it by reading or journaling. Those can be modified stillness sessions. I can't wait for you to integrate this into your daily practice and let me know how it goes. But you know what Jackie says, our functional medicine expert, habit stack. Don't overwhelm yourself with this. Link it to something else that you're already doing. She likes to link it to, say, getting a cup of coffee. So why don't you take a moment if you're sipping coffee or tea? I don't drink coffee, but I do love decaffeinated tea. Or following the great smoothie episode that she did. If you decide to make a smoothie, maybe you add a practice of stillness to it. Maybe you have a favorite walk that you go on in nature and there's a bench, and that could be your stillness moment. Or the walk in nature can be your stillness moment. Or maybe there's a place in your house. How about a beautiful bubble bath? And that could be your moment of stillness. Or is there a comfy chair that you love? And that could be your stillness chair. I like to practice it also in the morning after I wake up and then before I go to sleep at night. I just integrate it into those two rituals that I have. And I've done episodes where I share my routines that I do. But maybe that's your new stillness moment. I read this article on Medium, and I've never read this author before, but it's called Or Industry. And this author wrote about stillness, and there was a line towards the end of the article that really captivated me. And I wanted to share it with you as part of this discussion about stillness. But some days the stillness feels like peace, and more like a waiting room for the next storm. Wow. We've all had that, right? Where stillness can just feel so overwhelmingly amazing. But then other times, stillness can feel like something's going to happen. Like there's something that's going to whipsaw us at any moment. And I just want to acknowledge that that can happen in stillness, where you get a premonition about something that you really need to think about or take care of because you've been so busy that you haven't seen that coming. And so those are really good warning signs, and don't ignore them because stillness really heightens your intuition. It makes you so self aware. So I adapted what that writer discussed, but I do think it's important to really listen, particularly as your intuition gets more finely tuned from the stillness. So I wanted to share this cartoon with you because I thought it was really cute, but I have to kind of paint the scene of this cartoon for you so you get it. It's a visual joke too. So picture a painting with an apple, a banana, some grapes, bread, a bottle, and a pitcher. Got it? Now, the apple is speaking to the other objects in this picture, and the objects all have eyes and they're animated. So here's what the apple says: ADHD medication has really changed my life. Before it, I couldn't be in a still life. Now that's really clever, but you could substitute out meditation or any of the practices that we talked about, and that joke would still be funny. Oh my gosh, I loved it. So I hope that you really try at least one moment of stillness. And I love when you go to comedycures.org and you tell me all about it. You can hit the record button in the podcast section, or you can just hit the contact menu and write me a note. And if you have other ways that you're practicing stillness, let me know. All right. Have a blessed, still day, and I'll see you tomorrow.